Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Great America Show. It's great to have you with us today. Thanks so much for joining us. It's a new day in America and a new day for the Marxist Dems to have a total meltdown about absolutely nothing. Now, there's plenty for them to be melting down about in this country, but for all the wrong reasons is why they're doing it. Jamie Raskin, Marxist Democrat congressman, sits on the House Oversight Committee with Chairman James Comer, is promising retaliation or retribution, if you will, for those unleashing, quote, fascist chaos on America when the Democrats finally return to power. Raskin is vowing to hold any country or any person accountable for working with America and working with Donald Trump. Don't take my word for it, as I often tell you on the show. His words directly. Take a listen.
So I like that idea, and it's a compliment to something that we need to be doing right now, which is engaging in far more work of transnational democratic solidarity with the democratic governments and the democratic movements and peoples and parties of the world.
Totally agree.
To try to prevent the spread of the lawlessness and the fascist chaos that's been unleashed against us. But implicit in it should be the idea that if and when we come back to power, and we will, we are not going to look kindly upon people who facilitated, to use a word of the day, who facilitated authoritarianism in our country. Because that's an assault on our Constitution and on our people.
Yeah.
That's, folks, is a very sick, demented individual. Those of you guys who followed impeachment 1, impeachment 2, any hearing on oversight saw that sick, demented man. That's exactly what he is. That is a man who hates this country, hates America, and brutally hates Donald J. Trump. Now, while Raskin was there, and as we sit here on this episode of the Great America Show, 4 House Democrats are currently on vacation in El Salvador. Congressman Yasmin Ansari, Congressman Maxwell Frost, Congressman Maxine Dexter, and Congressman Robert Garcia all headed down to El Salvador to try to maybe bring back some illegals, to bring back some of these folks who have been deported. I'm not entirely sure. Now, this comes after Senator Van Hollen went down there last week and was brutally embarrassed by the president and vice president of El Salvador, refusing to meet with him. Why he went down there in the first place is foreign to me. To bring back maybe that illegal MS-13 member, I'm not entirely sure. It could have also just been a good old photo op, which is mostly what the Democrats are good for. Folks in New York, good news for you. Letitia James, the Attorney General, the attacks on her, they're not even attacks. They're truths, are ramping up. Last week we brought to you with Roger Stone, Tish James defrauding mortgage lenders and banks by wrongly representing how many apartments are in her building that she lives in Brooklyn. She says it was 4. There's really 5. Discrepancy with getting a certain kind of mortgage. It's a HAMP loan. It's only available for 4 units. So she lied about that. Now, that's just a small part of the problem. You can then go into insurance fraud and how insurance plays a role when you're undersizing it by 1 unit. That's another part of the issue. The other part of the issue is a loan that she took out on her properties in Norfolk, Virginia, where she said she's living. So when you get a insurance quote, or when you get insurance on a home, it's far cheaper when you're living in that home than if you're using it to rent out, for obvious reasons. Now, Tish James, of course, telling the mortgage companies and telling the insurance companies that she lives in those homes in Virginia. So now it's not just mortgage fraud and lending fraud. It's turning into insurance fraud. So we'll keep you updated on this story as it continues to progress. But I want to get into our guest today. Our guest today, Mark Simone, good friend of mine, host the Mark Simone Show on 710 WOR, iHeartRadio, wherever you guys get your podcasts. If you're in the New York Tri-State, tune in that radio dial every day from 10 to 12, 710 WOR. Mark Simone, as always, it's great to have you with us here on the Great America Show. Let's start with first. We're both New Yorkers. I've been trying to get you on here for a week now. Tish James, it turns out she's not as squeaky clean as she's told us she is. went after Donald Trump for mortgage fraud, for overvaluation, this, and that. And it turns out Tish James is just another politician living in a glass house throwing boulders.
Well, if this is true, she's not just another politician. This is multiple cases. This is not one or two. This is a lot of them. She went after Trump for something that nobody in the history of the world's ever been charged with. In fact, the first hearing by the appeals court, one of the appeals judges said to the prosecutor, has anybody in the history of the world ever been charged with this? And he said, no. So that's why they've delayed the appeal. Normally an appeal would have been heard by now. They're deliberately delaying it because it'll all get tossed out. In her case, the Virginia case where she lied on the application there, saying it was her primary residence, you could find many cases of people being charged, convicted, and sentenced for that. The case in New York now that's a tough one because in New York, she lied about how many apartments in order to avoid the rent stabilization and the regulations and save money. That's New York, where you get those terrible left-wing kook judges. So anything can happen. The Virginia case, that's the one. If it's all true, and I assume it is, we'll take her down.
You have to assume, right? What I'm wondering, Mark, throughout this that's her primary residence. Where is she registered to vote? Is she voting in two different places?
Yeah, the problem is she claimed Virginia would be the primary residence. Of course, that's impossible. She's the Attorney General of New York. So that's mortgage fraud, wire fraud, bank fraud, mail fraud. But even if it was her primary residence, she committed election fraud. New York law requires the Attorney General to live in New York. So there's no way out of this. And she's going to claim, I know she's hinted she'll claim it's a representative that did this paperwork, had nothing to do with her. That doesn't matter. Under the law, you're responsible for the truth of anything you sign. And remember, Trump claimed, I didn't do it, the bookkeeper did it. And they said that's not a valid excuse.
Right. And they went after the book. They went after Alan Weisselberg, this elderly man who Donald Trump paid for the grandkid to go to school and he didn't claim it on his tax returns. This woman's full on committing mortgage fraud, lying about properties, about how many apartments. Not as just mortgage fraud, but it's issues with the housing authority. If you have illegal apartments here in New York, which is a very common thing, letting someone live in a basement, which is considered in New York inhabitable. You can't live there. Why, in your opinion, Mark, would she go after Donald Trump so hard? Now, she could have went after him for probably a lot of other things that she could have cooked up, right? It wasn't just this. She went after him specifically on real estate crimes. She had to know, Mark, in the back of her head that this would eventually come out, right?
It's actually a tribute to Donald Trump because they went after, they looked at him, they gave him an investigation like nobody's ever had. Yeah. And that's the only thing they could find. And even that's not a crime. And by the way, in the end, you're claiming he overvalued his apartment, right? Whatever. In the end, when they look at the actual facts, the appeals court, apartments that were called comparable sold for exactly that price. So his price was absolutely correct. Why would she do it? Because it's the hypocrisy Democrats are famous for. They always do this. Whatever they accuse you of, they're always doing themselves.
Well, it wasn't even just Tish James. You remember that? Oh, man. I'm trying to be nice, Mark. It was just Easter. I don't want to call him an idiot, but I have no choice. The judge who said that Mar-a-Lago was worth like $18 million. It was like a coup, Mark, of just some of the dumbest people you could find in New York that came together and agreed on what we're going to charge Donald Trump for and what we're going to get him on. And you literally couldn't have found a dumber group of people to say dumber things than they said.
Yeah, every Palm Beach real estate expert has put Mar-a-Lago at between $1.2 billion and $1.5 billion. There's a little house. It's not much of a house. A little house next to Mar-a-Lago.
Yes.
And that just sold 2 weeks ago for $18 million. So there you go. It's just they're so blind with hatred and rage. Even they went after the Trump CFO because he used a company car and driver, and he didn't put on his taxes. He was prosecuted by the local district attorney, who every day had a company car and driver that he doesn't. I guarantee he doesn't declare it on his taxes, but he came to court every day with a car and driver paid for by us.
Yeah, for the people for us people who don't get luxury cars to work every day. Not that I need one to get to my studio, but you're supposed to take a tax deduction. Nobody absolutely does it because in the grand scheme, for an executive who's making $10, $15, $20 million, $100,000, it's oversaw. And I mean, these guys get reamed out enough in Texas. Now, I have so many people, Mark, on Twitter telling me, oh, it's just another waste of time. Nobody cares about Tish James. She's going to be tried in New York. But I disagree because this is a federal case, and the SDNY, one thing people could agree on is everybody in New York, mostly everybody in the political world, hates Tish James. She took down their beloved Andrew Cuomo, got him out of office, ran for a failed governorship. I don't know any Democrat politician in New York, forget about Republicans, who actually like this woman. So the way I see it, Mark, is that it's finally a way for them to get this woman out of there and get their own people in there who they want. Do you agree?
Yeah. Also, you got to remember there's a curse on the New York Attorney General's office. I think 4 of the last 5 have all ended up in legal trouble. Andrew Cuomo was one. That Dennis, I forget his name, Dennis, whatever, got caught in taking money from garbage contract where he was gone. There's a whole list. Elliot Spitzer, whoever's in that Attorney General's office, like 90% of the time ends up with criminal charges.
Was Anthony Weiner ever in that office?
No, but it'd be perfect for him.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Being New Yorkers, we've got a mayoral race coming up here. And Mark, it's literally like the same thing as this Trump case. You couldn't pull together a bigger group of misfits to run for this office. You've got Cuomo, who, it's no joke, killed people's grandparents in nursing homes. You've got Anthony Weiner, who sent unsolicited pictures to minors. You've got Mayor Eric Adams, who was just expunged of all his charges for whatever the hell he did. Am I missing any people who are under some sort of indictment or have been under some sort of indictment?
Well, in Eric Adams' defense, compared to these other people, he now looks like Winston Churchill. He looks like a leader compared to these guys. Andrew Cuomo single-handedly caused the crime wave we're going through right now. He's the guy that pushed the no bail, no jail and signed it. He's the guy that bragged about closing the prisons, letting the prisoners out. He's the guy that changed our parole board. He put in 12 left-wing wackos. They've let out every criminal. They've already let out 43 cop killers. He's the guy that, you can go on and on with this list. He's the guy that closed Indian Point. He's the guy that picked this horrible governor, Kathy Hochul, and said she'd be great. Everything he did. There's 2 governors, Newsom and Cuomo. They look great. They sound great. They give you a great speech, a great press conference, but they're salesmen. They're not managers. They're great salesmen and campaigners. But you put them in office, they'll make every wrong decision you can make.
Cuomo is so dumb, too. He resigned for, I don't even remember what it was, taking a picture, putting his hand on some woman saying he's Italian. He resigned for literally all the wrong reasons. As he's killing people's grandparents in the nursing home, this guy resigned apparently because he told us he's Italian. That was what he used. He said he was Italian. He can't control his hands. Some of these cases are borderline. Some of these cases, I think he's innocent, but there's like 11 of them or 14 of them. They're not also innocent. It also comes out now he was having an affair with his chief of staff, who was married. It was an extramarital affair. So he's not married though, right?
No, but it's because his wife left him, I think. But it's an absolute. If this were a Republican and he had just one of these things, it'd be immediately out of the race.
He comes from an odd family too. His brother's a total whack job. I think he experiences like roid rage very often. I watched an interview he did the other day with Grant Cardone, who I had on the show 2 weeks before that. And the first 15 minutes of the interview, Mark, Chris Cuomo is trying to convince Grant Cardone that Anthony Scaramucci is good looking. And Grant's sitting there, he's like, dude, we're both married men. Why are we talking about Anthony Scaramucci? And Cuomo's going back, no, but he's just a good looking Italian guy. And I'm sitting there watching, I'm like, how the hell does anyone watch this guy?
Well, Scaramucci, I guess he's good looking, but in a Las Vegas
cute way,
pit
right?
boss, a Las Vegas pit boss sort of way. It's like like a bad Steve Wynn kind of good looking,
Oh, it's brilliant. You'd mentioned bail reform and prison reform and how they've completely screwed this up in New York. I'm going through my morning reads this morning, and I see Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana, who puts out all these cute videos. During Hunter Biden, he said, don't call the cops when you're in trouble, call a local crackhead. And I see him put out something. He says something so stupid. So Donald Trump's looking at maybe sending some of our worst criminals here in America to prisons outside of America, right? Cutting some costs. He's a businessman. I don't know what the number is, but it's exorbitantly high, like over $100,000 a person to to house someone here in America as a prisoner. And he puts out this thing and he says, I don't agree with sending criminals overseas. And I'm saying to myself, Senator, I don't remember ever reading anywhere in the Constitution after the Bill of Rights, due process, where it says we must house our prisoners in country club-like prison places. It's like even the Republicans are upside down on their heads right now, Mark, it seems to me.
Yeah, but he never actually said that. He was talking about criminals and sending them to that prison, and then he was talking about some of our worst criminals that are hitting old ladies over the head or throwing them in a subway train. And he said, "Boy, we should probably send them there." It was just, it was not a serious plan. It was just him being dramatic. But the problem is most people are not used to a non-politician in office, and most people have never been around a billionaire. And if you hang around these guys, that's what they do. They throw out all kinds of ideas constantly, risky ideas. They throw them out and let everybody argue about them. That's just the way they operate. That's how you become a Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. You dream big, toss out all kinds of ideas, try anything and everything.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets.
I'm interrupting this commercial to do something I've never done before. Get 2 MyPillows absolutely free on orders of $100 or more. I can't do this forever, so get on board with this great sale today. Our best-selling 6-piece bath towel sets or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Our famous standard MyPillows only $14.98. Queens $18.98. King size only $1 more. Body pillows $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bed sheet sets. Any size, any color. So go to MyPillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And when you spend $100 or more, get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
And they say whatever they think, and most people are not used to it.
My favorite thing, Mark, which you've been talking about on your show, Senator Van Hollen went down to Seacott prison to try to go see his amigo, what's his name, Abrego Garcia. Well, he goes down there, and now the pushback is like through the roof because this guy, this U.S. senator, is going down to get an illegal migrant who committed crimes, who's a gang member, to bring him back here. Didn't sign the Laken Riley bill. Never went down to our southern border, doesn't care about crime, just your typical Democrat, Mark. But now this guy comes back and he says, can we stop talking about this guy, Abrego's crime list? Can we just stop talking about it? I don't endorse that. Well, dude, you just got on a plane. You went down to El Salvador to visit the guy. Which one is it?
Well, it was obviously just a cheap photo op publicity stunt, but give credit to the El Salvadorian president who outmaneuvered him he had to meet him at the hotel outside by the pool. He had got him some clothes, and we're supposed to be all upset, crying for this guy. Most people are watching this going, that's a nice shirt. Where'd you get that shirt? So here's the big problem, though. The Democrats made a huge tactical error. They should have acknowledged immediately that this guy's a gang member, that this guy's a bad guy. And their argument should have been, I don't care if he's a gang member or a bad guy. We got to protect the rights of criminals. They should have done it that way. By denying he's a gang member, there's a ton of evidence that he is. In the end, they'll lose this battle. It'll be proven he's a gang member, and then they'll look ridiculous.
Are you surprised, though, Mark? You've been in this game probably like a lot longer than me. But are you surprised that the Democrats have gone this off the wall, this damn crazy, that they're willing to come out and say, we support illegal criminals?
Well, Gavin Newsom said it over the weekend. I don't know what made him say this, but he said, you're all just a bunch of sheep now. You're just giving knee-jerk reactions to anything Trump does. Whatever he does, you just do the opposite. And he said, he's playing you. He's pushing you to take the wrong stance and then coming after you for it. So, and it's true. They're all sheep, just bleeding whatever they're told to do.
President Trump is master troll. That's for damn sure. Mark, let's turn to Kristi Noem this week, sitting in a D.C. restaurant on Easter Sunday and got robbed. Now, a man walked in with a surgical mask on and, one of those cheap blue masks, steals her pocketbook, which happens to be carrying her passport, her DOJ documents, $3,000 in cash, which that seems like a lot of, for someone like me, I carry probably anywhere from 15 to 20 bucks on me at any given point. We're supposed to have a reformed DOJ, a reformed Secret Service, but it's like business as usual. How the hell does the Department of Homeland Security get robbed?
Oh, easy. Just move to DC. Just go to a restaurant in DC, walk around DC. It's one big crime zone. And the better question, she's carrying a passport and thousands in cash. Was she getting ready to go on the lam? She hadn't explained that. But yeah, it's just a great example of DC being totally out of control. President Trump has threatened to send in the military or whatever he has to send in to take over DC. It is under the control eventually of the federal government, and just clean it up.
Well, so let's talk about that a little bit. The federal government, Kash Patel, promised. I mean, just about everybody. He was going to dismantle the FBI. He was going to dismantle the agency. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and attack Kash just yet. He is a friend, but I mean, are you surprised? Did you think we were going to see more action? Now, Dan Bongino gives up a cushy $10 million a year gig on his Rumble show to go back to the FBI, and it makes you wonder, does this guy really want to do something good? And now we watch what happens, and it seems like it's just business as usual from two men who told us they were going to dismantle the FBI. They were going to gut the whole thing. We're a few months in now, and it seems like nothing has changed.
Well, yeah, but you got to be fair. I mean, they've only been in office, and President Trump's only been there 15 minutes.
Of course.
Kash Patel, 5 minutes. First, you got to figure out where, learn the ropes, learn the whole thing, learn the building you're in, the system, all that. Eventually, you'll get it done. But I mean, you're right. Democrats really, really, really come through when it comes to lawfare. Peter Navarro in shackles, Steve Bannon in prison. And a lot of people saying when it comes to Republicans, they just don't do it. They never actually lock anybody up. They never actually arrest anybody. But we'll see. In the end, they better do it. But it's too soon to go after them on it.
I mean, I agree with you to an extent. And we're going to clip this and we're going to come back to visit this if you're wrong. But don't you think, though, that they should give us something, Mark? Give us something to hold out hope. I've been asking and begging for the Jeffrey Epstein documents since January 20th. Give us something to hold out hope, to let us know we got your back. We're on your side. But then I turn on the news or I read the news, Mark, and it's like, oh, this guy who went after January 6ers is now an FBI agent who went after J6ers. Has now been promoted to the Las Vegas field office. This January 6th guy who went after January 6th, he's been promoted to the DC field office. We sit here, Mark, and we're like, hello.
Again, it's early. You got to figure out who you can trust, who you can't trust. There's nothing in those Epstein documents. It's going to be flight logs and all that. But I wish they would send an incredible team to that prison in Manhattan and find out who killed him. It was obviously a plot. Mm-hmm. Absolutely impossible that all those things could have gone wrong at once. So I wish they would investigate that, get to the bottom of that. But, it's like the JFK files. It's Oswald's dental records, Jack Ruby's tax record. I mean, those forms were paper for 30 years. I would assume they've been cleaned out and cleansed a million times that over the 60s, 70s, 80s, anything bad was taken out of there.
So I had on the other day, he might get a kick out of this. I had Roger Stone on. We sat down for an hour in studio and we just BS'd pretty much. We talked about all random things and bounced things off each other. And we get into, which we're going to talk about, Bill Maher and Steve Bannon going on Bill Maher. And, Roger talks about Steve Bannon testifying against him and then talks about Steve Bannon working on a film with Epstein, 15-hour film that never came out and never released it. Mark, so I went into it and I said, I don't care who's on if we get an Epstein list, I want to know who's on it, Republican or Democrat. If Donald Trump's on the list, I want to know if he was on Epstein Island. I think every single person in America would want to know, right? So I start getting hate mail on Twitter, on email, on Instagram. You've lost me now. You've gone after Republicans. And I'm like, no, I'm reporting the news. If something is newsworthy, this is factual. Steve Bannon sat down with Jeffrey Epstein and coached him for his depositions. That's newsworthy information. And these people are going crazy at me like, well, you've lost us. You're going against Republicans. Oh, you know what? At the end of the day, Mark, I'm an American. I'm America first. I'm not Republican first. I'm not Democrat first. I just want the truth to come out. Am I so wrong for that?
Yeah, well, you got to remember, Epstein was a major figure in New York and Palm Beach, in the society world, the business world. He was everywhere. I was warned a long time ago to stay away from him by two people. Just warned me, don't go near this guy. He's bad. One was a guy you wouldn't know. Another was Donald Trump, because Epstein had been a member of Mar-a-Lago, and in his first 2 years there, went after a young girl in the locker room. Trump found out, threw him out, ostracized him, and warned me and warned a lot of people to stay away from him. And one thing you remember about Epstein, it wasn't just young girls. That was the case with some people and Epstein himself. But he got you whatever you wanted. Bill Clinton, like 40-year-old floozies, Jennifer Flowers types. He got him that. Bill Gates, like these mousy librarian types in their 40s.
Wait, are you saying Bill Clinton's cheating on his wife?
Well, I hate to break it to you, but yeah. The best one is Bill Gates going there over and over. He said, well, I was trying to raise money for my charity. And now Bill Gates has $120 billion. This guy has 40 million. And he said, there was a charity meeting about the charity. He was there 5.5 hours. I work with a lot of charities. I've been in a lot of meetings. Yeah. I never saw one go past 45 minutes. Not five. There's no 5.5 hour charity meeting.
You see these guys too. We hung out with Mark. None of them are like straight edge guys, like a Mark Simone, like a Lou Dobbs, like a Tucker Carlson. It was always these guys that you look at and you're like, I maybe wouldn't leave my kid with that guy. The Bill Gates, the Clintons of the world, just people you look at and you cringe a little bit. And I think that's a testament as to who Jeffrey Epstein was.
Well, he was a good-looking guy, very well-dressed, looked very, suave. And until he opened his mouth and he go, "How are you?" And he had that accent. And but he had one talent: he could meet you and within 30 seconds figure out what you wanted and get it for you. Whatever it is you wanted, he would deliver it.
The accent, I was online in an Italian deli in Staten Island over the weekend, Mark, and there's a woman in front of me, and she's on the phone, and she's the New York accent thing is we really do get a bad rap. Now, mine's not as bad. Yours, I don't think is as bad because you have no choice. You're on the radio.
I'm from the Midwest. So.
There you go. But I'm sitting online and I'm listening to this woman, and she's on the phone going, "Yeah, I'm getting the sauce and the mozzarella," and I'm sitting there. I'm like, "Oh man, please don't tell me I sound like that. I'll have no viewers on
you. You don't sound like that." But if you see the pictures of Mar-a-Lago, the gowns, the jewelry, they look incredible. When you're actually there, all these women come over to you and go, "How are you?"
Yep.
With those, they all sound like that. That's one reason. By the way, Melania just stays out of that dining room. She can't listen to this.
I had a girlfriend, Mark, who lived on Long Island. And I cringed anytime someone, when I was with her, very beautiful girl, but I cringed anytime someone would talk to her and to ask her where she's from. She'd say Long Island. And I'm like, "Oh, no, please don't do this to me." People don't understand, if you're not from New York, that the different kind of accents that we have here, just they're up there with people from Boston and from Massachusetts.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bed sheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Let's turn to Bill Maher, Mark. I have an issue with these Republicans propping up Bill Maher. Lou Dobbs used to tell me, Mark, Democrats are Democrats. We don't carry their water. Okay? Let them do what they want to do. We're not going to prop them up. We're not going to carry their water. Now I turn and I see people are championing Stephen A. Smith right now. People are championing Bill Maher as like the voice of reason for the Democratic Party. Why are we I'm saying Republicans. Why are Republicans sitting there propping up guys like Bill Maher, letting them be a voice of reason for the Democrats? It's not our job to do.
Well, you lump those two guys together. Stephen A. Smith looks amazing. He looks charming, handsome. He's got the greatest suits. He's full of energy. But if you actually listen to him at great length, there's nothing he says that you would ever want to remember. He says absolutely nothing. There's no substance here. Maher is a brilliant guy. I mean, definitely crazy political beliefs at times.
I just heard that like 1,000 people just tuned out. Go ahead.
No, I'm not. A lot of these guys are brilliant. You know, George Soros is the most evil man on earth, but he's a brilliant guy. He made billions of dollars. There are evil geniuses. Maher and I are old friends. We go back 1,000,000 years. You got to give him some credit, though. As crazy as he is politically, he will actually come to his senses, sometimes for a couple of minutes at a time, and once in a while say the right thing. So you got to give him a little credit for that.
But is it genuine, Mark, or is it because nobody's watching his show anymore?
No, it's genuine. And once in 1,000,000 years, you'll hear Jon Stewart do it. You know, in the middle of that covering up the lab leak. Got to give Stewart credit. He came right out.
Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Again, Stewart, same thing. A very, very smart guy. Totally crazy politically, but I guess it's important to give him credit that once in a while these guys will say the truth.
Stewart, I have a certain respect for. I met Stewart when I was working at Fox News when he was, gung-ho for the 9/11 Victims Fund, and he did a lot of work. So I have a special respect as an uncle who passed away from 9/11 cancer for Jon Stewart for doing the right thing. But yeah, totally crazy. There are some people, Mark, who are Marxist leftists who are good people, I think, genuinely down. There's very far and few in between. But the way I see it, for a guy like Bill Maher, his ratings are in the tubes. He's getting beat by like Sesame Street on PBS, even the Afghanistanian version. They're running over there. And he's waking up now and he's like, oh, maybe the audience doesn't want me to go this far left. Maybe I should go a little bit further right. That's fine. Do your own thing. Continue to have on Ann Coulter, whoever you do. Lou Dobbs, by the way, used to go on Bill Maher's show every now and then. So I just don't see why it should be incumbent upon the Republicans. We have our own issues inside the Republican Party to deal with. Why the hell are we championing Bill Maher? That's just the way I'm looking at it.
Well, you're not championing him. You're giving him credit every once in 1,000,000 years when he says something that makes sense. And the best thing he does is that podcast called Club Random. It's usually an hour and a half. It's up on YouTube. They're really good. The last episode was Charlie Kirk for an hour and a half.
That's where I saw him. I got to be honest with you. I don't watch much. I listen to your radio show maybe twice a week in the car, and I watch Joe Rogan. Honestly, Joe Rogan puts on, Mark, the best podcast, in my opinion, that I've ever heard. It's literally Joe Rogan sitting down for 2.5 hours, bullshitting back and forth with whoever his guest is, doesn't pretend like he knows things. If he doesn't know something, he has his producer sit there and pull it up. It's the most brilliant and transparent podcast. I don't know if you ever watched it, but it's amazing.
Well, I thought my podcast is the most brilliant and transparent, and I get it done in like 20 minutes. We don't need 4 hours.
There's only one problem, Mark. They paid him like $120 million for that damn thing.
Well, you know what Rogan is? We have always had a guy like this. It was Larry King for decades, a guy who would have anybody and everybody on from both sides, from politics, from entertainment. So Rogan is the new Larry King, and that was a big, important show back in its day, Larry King.
Did you ever see Trump sit down with Larry King, and Larry King gets close to Trump, and Trump looks at him and goes, you really got to back up. Your breath stinks. Yeah. And this is on live television. Oh, man. The stuff Trump does is very candid and very honest. I mean, even if it is on live television, Mark.
Well, if you watch that clip, he didn't actually have bad breath. It was a Trump trick. He said, I did that to you deliberately because now you won't be able to think of anything else. Now you're going to be self-conscious. It gives me an advantage over you in the interview. Now you're going to be so worried about your breath that I'll have the advantage.
He is absolutely brilliant. Mark, what would you do if I could tell you you can retire tomorrow and you get paid $3.5 million in your first year of retirement? Would you retire?
No.
Well, for an average person, they'd probably retire, right? Someone who's working in the government making $200,000-$300,000 a year. Anthony Fauci, in his first year of retirement, Mark, made $3.5 million last year. How the hell did he do it?
Well, in his defense, he works his ass off running around telling these lies everywhere. He makes up a whole other story. And another stupid explanation. But that's what happens when you leave and you're a Michelle Obama or an Anthony Fauci or even a Biden. You get a $15 million book deal. You get all kinds of money to speak. You get money to do this and that. And he is a cute guy. He's a cute little elf on TV, and they love him. You know, I think the Fed chairman, Jerome Powell, I think he's trying to turn himself into the new Anthony Fauci, the darling of the left.
Oh, boy.
And I think at some point he leaves, and then he's going to pull a Fauci. He'll make millions speaking, books, the whole thing.
The only problem is he's a lawyer. It's like the universally hated person, Mark. Like, everyone hates lawyers. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because they're trained to lie. And
Fauci's a medical bureaucrat. We hate them too.
Well, we used to like them before COVID-19.
We used to say Fauci is Churchill with a no. What did we used to call him? Bernie Madoff with a stethoscope.
Oh man, that's a good one. Did you know Bernie Madoff?
I met him a couple of times. He was another one, very, very quiet guy. And he looked distinguished with the gray hair. And then when you'd say hello, he'd go, "How are you?" with the same accent.
He was quiet, Mark, because as he was shaking your hand with one hand, he had his hand in your back pocket and the other one finding your wallet. Oh, I don't know where you find, Mark. I feel like I'm repeating myself because it's time and time again, regardless of what point of the government you go to, you find these misfits of people who have just been hanger-oners who sit there and do absolutely nothing and get paid all this money to be total buffoons. Jamie Raskin, Congressman Jamie Raskin, or as James Comer likes to call him, Jamie Raskins, is promising retaliation for those, quote, unleashing fascist chaos on America, which means any world leader who decides to work with Donald Trump. These, Mark, are supposed to be the tolerant leftists who love America. They tell us they love America, promising. That sounds like retribution to me.
Well, first of all, if you're a world leader, if you're the president of France, and they tell you Jamie Raskin is threatening to come after you, all you got to say is, who is this? Who? If you took a picture of Jamie Raskin, went right outside here in New York City and showed it to people, 99.9% couldn't tell you who he is. He has absolutely no power to do anything. These guys, and like Chuck Schumer is a good example. He puts on the little Ben Franklin glasses, the cheap sport coat.
Yeah.
And they make these stupid speeches. He's never done anything for anybody. There's no accomplishments. When we had the riots in New York, he left town. We couldn't find him. The anti-Semitism in Columbia University, right in his own backyard. Never shows up there. He never does anything. These guys just talk. They never actually do anything.
That's one, Mark, that blows my mind because the Jewish community is probably the most tight-knit community of any ethnic group, of any religious group. They stick together, the Jewish community, and they unite behind each other. Then you've got Chuck Schumer, who's like a self-hating Jew. It's the strangest thing in the world that he runs from his religion in the name of Marxism.
In his defense, he hates everybody. I don't think it's just Jews. He hates everybody. He does absolutely nothing. His only purpose in life, his only job is donor service. That's all he does all day and night is take care of donors. And that's why Republicans here in New York support him like crazy. And if you say why, they'll say, I could wake this guy up at 3 a.m. He'll do anything I want. They've all got his cell number. They make sure he has no opponent whenever he runs. So it's a good business model. Just take care of the donors and they'll keep you in office forever. That's
not going to last long, though. It seems like AOC, who, by the way, is a climate warrior. The first quarter of this year, Mark, her and Bernie Sanders have spent millions of dollars on private jets. I think AOC pulls the plug and decides to run against Chuck Schumer. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I'm talking about his business model. The thing is, after a certain number of decades, it's over. You kind of wore yourself out. We had a great senator named Jacob Javits, who for decades was like a legend, an institution. But then he got a little too old and it was time for him to go. And a young guy came and took his job named Chuck Schumer. So it's going to happen to Schumer now, too.
Yeah, it happens. So, I mean, look what happened to Eric Cantor. I mean, the fourth most powerful guy in Washington, D.C., ousted. The mainstream media, Mark, Pope passed away, obviously, on Monday. Mainstream media, Joe Scarborough went out this morning and says, the hard right inside the church hated Pope Francis for being Christ-like. Now, I am a Catholic, born, raised, and everything. But I sort of drifted away from the Catholic Church when they started to, allowing pedophilia to happen under their own, face. You've got this Pope who just passed away, who was all in favor of allowing transgender things inside the church. Now, I don't want to talk ill about the dead, but who the hell is Joe Scarborough to say the hard right hated him because he was Christ-like? I wasn't seeing it.
Yeah. Well, listen, the Catholic Church has its problems. Now when I go to confession, I say to the priest, "You first." And but you got to remember, Democrats are very, very upset about the Pope's death because they were all set to go with Pete Hegseth and a whole new Signal chat that he was on. They had it ready to become the story of the week. And then the Pope dies, and now they can't get that story out. It completely covered it up. Now, the reason this Pope was too far to the left, he was too political. He was busy with transgenders and climate change. It was horrible. But the last conclave deliberately went that way because they were trying to get young people back to the church, and they thought that would do it. But hopefully the next conclave, they don't try this pandering thing again and pick a more appropriate sort of person.
Yeah, it's so stupid that the church, there's like certain places, Mark, you go where you don't have to talk about politics. Like a sporting event, you don't talk about politics. Church, you don't talk about politics. But this man, time and time again, tried to insert politics in telling America how we should be running our borders, telling America what we should be doing with migrants. I think the Catholic Church has a very big decision to make here, and it's going to dictate how many people continue to follow their path and how many people divert onto different types of religions. Before we wrap up, speaking of the border, Stephen Miller, who's one of President Trump's closest advisors, says he wants reparations, but it's not for what you think. He wants reparations for the American people for dealing with the Biden border crisis. Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually not for reparations for anything, but Miller's got a good point. He's great, and you give him credit. He'll go anywhere. CNN, Rachel Maddow, he'll tell anybody up. But the cost, nobody's ever really put together the cost of that migrant crisis and what it costs, not just in the welfare, the handouts, all that stuff, but the crime, the damage to people, the damage to lives, the people killed, robbed, all that stuff. The cost it'd be staggering if somebody could put that figure together.
Yeah, nobody cares to talk about it though, Mark. It's because it doesn't fit a narrative. I want to wrap up with another New York issue, congestion pricing. For those of you who aren't in New York, Governor Hochul came about, or was actually Cuomo, I think, who first started it.
Oh, that's another one. It was all him. He was the one that came up with it, pushed it through, and got it passed.
So congestion pricing is pretty much they want to keep people out of New York City from driving, but it's not working. So they charge you $9 if you go past a certain street multiple times. If you want to go past it, $9, $9. Trump came in, and he didn't have to do this, Mark, because New York went overwhelmingly Marxist Dem, and they voted for Kamala Harris. So he doesn't have to care about New York or California, but he's a president for all people, as he said he was going to be. So yesterday it expired, and Sean Duffy's now telling New York, that's fine. If you don't want to pull congestion pricing, we're going to pull your grants for all projects. And I think Penn Station is one of them, right? That Donald Trump is now taking over.
Yeah. People around the country may have, it's incredible to cross a bridge to get into Manhattan, the George Washington Bridge, the Verrazano Bridge. Some of these tolls on the bridges are like $20, $25. Just you're only on the bridge for like 30 seconds. So you've paid a fortune just to cross the bridge. Then you're paying a car tax, a gas tax, a road tax. Now, if you want to come into the main part of Manhattan, it's another $9. It's absolutely preposterous. It's not about congestion, because I've asked these congestion experts that do it around the world. Well, what happens if it brings down the congestion? He says, well, then we lower the price a little. It's a revenue grab. It's like when they put up the red light camera. There's a certain location where everybody knows it's there, and they're very careful. They moved the red light camera because they weren't trying to solve the problem. They were trying to get revenue.
It's so absurd. You mentioned the Verrazano Bridge. When they built the Verrazano Bridge, which links Staten Island to Brooklyn, it's an island, so you can't get off. It's a beautiful island just off the coast of Manhattan with the waterfront view of Manhattan. Great place to live. They built this bridge, the Verrazano Bridge, to get people from New York to from Staten Island to Manhattan. They said once the bridge was paid off, Mark, they were getting rid of the toll. I think they paid off the bridge in like under a year. Guess what? It's now like a very long time later. 60, 70, 80 years. The bridge is still up and the toll is through the roof. New Yorkers, why do we do it, Mark? I ask myself every day why I still live here. You can do your radio show from anywhere in the world. Why the hell do we still live here?
It's the greatest city in the world. I mean, look out the window. There's anything and everything here. The biggest and the best of everything is here in New York.
I agree. But then I go down to Florida, Mark, and I'm like, why am I not living here? I was just down there for a week, and I'm like, I gotta get the hell out of New York.
Remember John Updike, who said anybody that lives anywhere else besides New York has to be, in some sense, kidding. You got to live here.
It's sort of true. Mark, I appreciate you always joining us. You get the last word here. The floor is yours. Whatever you want to say, whatever you want to promote, whatever you want to sell, whatever you want to give.
Get my podcast. It's on iHeart, Mark Simone, iHeart, or any place you get podcasts, you can find it. Also, stock market, turmoil, tariffs, all this. Close your eyes and open them in about 3 months. I think everything's going to be booming like crazy.
Yep. It's Main Street's time to shine, not Wall Street. Mark Simone, the host of the Mark Simone Show. You catch him each and every day, 710 WOR. You get the Mark Simone Show on iHeartRadio, wherever you guys get your podcast. We encourage it highly, folks. Mark, thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody, and thanks to Mark Simone for being with us today here on The Great America Show. We'll see you back here tomorrow for The Great America Show, where our quest for truth, justice, and the American way continues. See you tomorrow, folks. Same time, same place. Until then, may God bless you. May God bless America, and may God bless the great Lou Dobbs. Have a good day.